What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of Totally Inspired with me, your girl, SIBO DUBE. And today, I just want to share with you a few notes, something that I think is important for many of us, given the season that we're in. COVID-19 has actually made a lot of people stagnate in many ways because the world literally stopped because of COVID-19. But I just want us to actually go back to the drawing board and look at ways in which we can actually continue to aspire to be the best versions of ourselves. And so today I'm just going to share with you 5 simple points on how we can carry on and not lose focus on all the things that we had set ourselves out to do even before the COVID-19 pandemic. But before we get started, please let's take a listen to our jingle. Hello, queens. Hello, phenomenal women. Hello, inspirational women. This is your girl, SIBO DUBE. Welcome to Totally Inspired, a channel where we talk all things leadership and all things lifestyle. Before we get started, please hit the notification bell and the subscribe button because you don't want to miss out on this content which has been created with you in mind so you can enjoy a full life because, girl, you deserve it. Right, now that we are back, I just want us to look at 5 very simple points on how we can go back to the drawing board and not forget those dreams, those aspirations that we had before COVID-19 hit. A lot of people have just allowed the world to stop around them because of what's been happening. Of course, there have been a lot of disruptions, but let's remain focused and not forget some of the goals that we had set ourselves to do. And here are ways in which you can actually revitalize your dreams and revitalize your goals. Number 1, never stop learning. Learning puts you a step ahead. If you make your brain or yourself idle, you are bound to be left behind in so many respects. Now that we have moved into an online and digital world, so many things are changing. Don't get left behind. Continue to self-improve. Continue to look for those courses or programs that will make you move along with the disruption that's been there. You don't want to wake up one day and find that you're irrelevant. Jobs are changing in a big way. A lot of jobs have now shifted, they've been repurposed, and people are able to deliver their best working from home. But when you look at yourself, do you still remain competitive given the changes that the world has faced? Given the changes that the career space has also faced, we continually need to self-improve. And continually learning doesn't necessarily mean you have to sign up for a formal university program, for example. Yes, you can. It's important that you do that if you have that gap in your skill set or your qualifications. However, learning can be learning from other people or signing up for professional newsletters that keep you abreast of what's happening in your industry. Another good way of actually improving yourself is continually following trends on social media. Social media will give you information on what's in and what's not. When you're on LinkedIn, you are actually kept abreast as to what's going on in your space, what's happening in your industry. I know a lot of people are anti-social media, but if you get into social media knowing what exactly you're looking for, you're bound to learn a lot, and knowledge is power. LinkedIn also offers courses that are for free that can help you actually keep up with trends within your space, within your industry. So continue to learn, never stop learning because knowledge is power. Another important thing to be aware of is that you need to make your work very visible, especially in these times where there's a lot of virtual work. It's very easy for your work to just disappear into thin air and you're not visible because people are no longer engaging or collaborating face to face. So you have to work extra hard for people to see the value you're adding in your company and for people to see the tangible outcomes of your work. And it's quite easy for people to take credit for the work that you have done. So you just need to be careful that you do not sit back and allow things to go on like they used to be when we used to engage and collaborate on a face-to-face basis before the COVID-19 pandemic hit. One of the best ways that you can make yourself visible and your work visible is to always put up your hand, volunteer, find out what's going on with other teams or other collaborators that are connected to your function or your department or the work that you're doing. That way you keep yourself or your name top of mind for many influential people within your organization. So I would like to emphasize that in this virtual world that we live in, please make sure you don't disappear with the virtual world that we are currently operating under. Always volunteer. Put your hand up for projects and little activities that need extra hands. That will go a long way in keeping you visible in this virtual world. Another piece of advice that I would like to give is to encourage people to be comfortable or not to be afraid to say they don't know, as well as to make mistakes. As long as you learn something from your mistakes and that you don't repeat them on a day-to-day basis. Mistakes are there for you to learn something from, not for you to be ashamed of. You cannot know everything. No one's perfect and no one knows everything. When you make a mistake, acknowledge it. That's the most important thing, that you acknowledge that I made an error of judgment here and own that mistake. However, be sure to actually find ways in which you can mitigate that mistake by learning how to do it better or differently next time so you don't repeat the same mistake. So things like making mistakes and being able to say, I don't know, or I need help with this, those things are things that we need to embrace in the workplace and not be too afraid or too shy to make, because that is part of the learning experience. That is part of the journey of success within corporate. May I emphasize, when you make a mistake, you need to acknowledge it, own it. However, make sure you draw a lesson from it. Don't walk away from a mistake without having learned anything from it. Another thing that people need to be aware of is not to be too concerned about the opinions of people that you wouldn't go to for advice. People will always have opinions about the way you should do your work, the way you should present yourself, or the way you should speak. People always have opinions. As I mentioned earlier, don't be too concerned or disrupted by people whom you didn't go for advice to. It's only people who are like your mentors, your coaches, your sponsors that should be very concerned about when they give you an opinion. If you listen to every opinion that comes your way, you are bound to end up losing focus and losing direction. Therefore, it is important for you to take advice and listen to opinions of people that matter in your career development. And you'll know those people because you'll see them adding value to your career development and to your personal and professional development. So be careful as to whose opinion you listen to and whose advice you take. It's important to spend time on videos that are posted by professionals or industry leaders, influential people. Listen to those people and hear what they have to say. Their advice in any shape or form will go a long way. Those are the kind of opinions that you should actually spend your time listening to, not just every other opinion that comes your way. And here is something that I'm very passionate about and very big on. In this virtual world, the way we communicate is now very different. We no longer have the luxury of seeing people's body language or their responses as we speak. So it is important that you pay careful attention to the way you communicate. We are relying a lot on Zoom meetings, on emails, and other online platforms in order to communicate. Those methods of communication can easily be misinterpreted. Make sure that as you communicate and collaborate with colleagues or clients or other stakeholders that you have to engage with in your day-to-day activities, you communicate in a very clear and succinct and professional way. It is also important to have a healthy measure of the number of emails you send, the number of MS Teams or Zoom calls that you set up, because people are now suffering from online fatigue. So it has to be a healthy way of balancing all the different platforms and channels that we have to communicate. Make sure that whatever you're saying, you mean it well, it is professional, it's well thought through. For example, don't send an email if you feel emotionally charged. Wait until you calm down and are able to think straight before you actually post an email. Also, it's always good to ask someone to read through your draft and give you their feedback, especially if it's an important piece of communication. Well, I hope these few pointers will help you to navigate in this virtual world that we find ourselves in. Therefore, it's important that we all master the art of engaging and collaborating with colleagues, clients, customers, partners, and stakeholders in this virtual world. I hope you found this video useful and that you'll apply some of the suggestions that I've given to you on how you can engage and collaborate in a virtual world, and also ensuring that you continue to advance in your career and not fall behind or hide behind the screens of computers and disappear into thin air until your organization forgets that there is someone like you. Do remember to comment, like, share, and subscribe. Give me your feedback on how you've been navigating the virtual space in these days of COVID-19 and working from home. Maybe your advice will help someone out there. I hope you found this advice useful and that you'll apply some of the principles that I've shared with you. Until next time, keep inspiring.